See you, Jason.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for everybody to be here this afternoon, and welcome to DSU Researcher Workshop titled IT Support Manager Supporting Tools, Security, and IT Policies, hosted by Mr. Jason Coles, who's our IT Support Manager at Research Capacity Core. So at this workshop, he will talk about data management plans, repository selection, RICAP administration, BioRender, LSTI support, and more. So hopefully you will find some part of the presentation being helpful to your research. So now welcome Mr. Coles.
Thank you for the introduction, Sharon. Really appreciate it. And good afternoon, everyone. Let me go ahead and share my slides and we will get started. Okay, can everyone see the slides?
I can
No.
see the slide.
I'm sorry, you say you can?
Cannot.
Cannot.
No, we cannot see it. No.
There we go. Awesome. All right, so good afternoon. As Sharon said, my name is Jason Coles. I am the IT support manager. And today I wanted to go over kind of my role and day-to-day responsibilities and how the things that I work on, responsibilities I have, can help you in your research. And so with that said, the main area that I work in is in REDCap, which I will go through on a later slide, but essentially providing day-to-day assistance. It's a tool that helps with taking surveys and some other key features that will help you in data collection and procurement. We also help with developing and updating research management policies, which are useful when applying for different grants, or if you're trying to apply for data such as through the Delaware Health Information Network. They typically have questions asking about how you're going to receive data, and so we help in that area. This year we will be working on creating training for data management. The university is still working on solidifying the data management policies that we have proposed. It's going through the general counsel, but what we have written is still useful for, again, the applications or any use that you may, or any need that you may have use for a management policy. We also provide with assisting in security and data encryption for research. So a lot of the data that you may, or some of the data that you may receive may be sensitive, may have social security numbers or some type of identifier. So we can help make sure that the environment in which you bring the data in is secure and is fully compliant with the different compliance laws that are out there. And then lastly, we help researchers identify cybersecurity requirements that will help you, requirements in the design, the secure workflow. So there may be for example, and it's funny, Leila's on this call, she's a perfect example, where we are working with multiple entities. So for instance, we may have ChristianaCare who may be in concert working with us to share data or to clean up data. And so we make sure that all of the parties that are involved are compliant and that everyone is in compliance when using the data, and we help with that workflow and providing whether that's credentials to access the data or a different environment to which they would need access to. We can kind of work with our team here at Dell State to create those workflows and systems for you guys. So under the IT support management area, there are certain things that you would need, or excuse me, certain things that you would have to go through our department for, whereas there are other things that may require a higher level responsibility. So as it relates to any type of IT assistance for implementing um, any surveys. So for instance, in RIDCAP, before you can make a survey live, that has to go through a check and balance system. Either myself or Sharon would approve the survey to go live. We also will need approval for, or you have to come to us for approval for resource to utilize the university network. So in other words, if there is a need for assigning an IP address, for instance, to a specific server that you may have bought, or any type of device that needs to connect to the network, that would be considered bringing it onto the network, and that would go through our department. Same goes for installing any IT data center devices. So again, I know recently we've had some devices coming from NVIDIA because AI is like the hottest thing out right now. So, as we're bringing in hardware and updating, or excuse me, as people are doing their research, we're then taking that equipment and making sure that it's installed on our on-site data center. Any type of campus credentials, whether that be for yourself or a student that may have an issue as related to a REDCap project or BioRender or one of the other research tools that we provide for you, that would come through our department as well. And then lastly, any cloud services. So whether that's on Microsoft Azure, whether you use Amazon Web Services, or just simply our OneDrive, that will also come through our department. And so we maintain those assets. We help with providing, again, credentials. If there are special projects that you may have, we can set up those applications for you. And just to briefly go over kind of the higher level things that will require approval from our CIO or my manager, Russell Weaver, that would be, they also oversee any IT procurement. So the process would be you would email our procurement email and then provide a PO. And so there's a kind of a approval process in concert with making sure that what you're buying meets the standards of the university. So in other words, it has to comply and be in standards with to make sure that it fits into our data center. So those things will fall under that. University executives will ensure policy adherence, as well as purchasing department insurance compliance. Again, users must comply with all related policies. And lastly, exemptions require CIO approval. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, RIDCap is kind of our main tool that we use for data procurement. And so it is set up on our university servers. And so you would request access to it through the portal, excuse me. As the information comes in from that, we are making sure that we're in compliance to know that it's stored, analyzed, and we know that we're working with human subjects. So we provide non-identifiers to make sure that, again, we're in compliance with things like FERPA, HIPAA, and GLBA. The REDCap application itself can be used on different devices. While it's set up on a online portal, there is an ability to have it on other devices such as iPads or mobile devices as well too, other mobile devices. And then lastly, the data security. Once again, we just ensure that the appropriate confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the managed research data is secured. That is the biggest thing. We just don't want to have any type of risk or liability when we take data from whether that's the state or any other system, we want to make sure that it's secure and we are in compliance. So with that said, depending on your project, we would help you create a management plan. The two tools that we know that we have used are essentially Microsoft OneDrive to have data sent to us, as well as a custom setup through a SFTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol. And so that those two tools, we know that once again, they are both compliant. And so if you're filling out any type of application where they're asking you where the data is stored, how are you managing the data, what are the procedures in which the data would be deleted or destroyed at the end, those two solutions fall within, in your management plan, fall within those compliance. And that is also applicable to the repository. So that data can sit there for as long as you need for the project, and those two options, the OneDrive as well as FTP. And again, I don't know if I said this earlier, but the SFTP, that is housed in our data center on site. And that is a fairly large server, so I would say there's really no limit to the data sets that you can request. We have literally terabytes worth of space for different projects. And then lastly, we administer the RIGCAP. As I mentioned before, this is both for students and faculty. So, this is a tool that we want not only our faculty to use, but if a student has a project, we definitely want them to use this tool as well. There are other tools, of course, out there like SurveyMonkey, but RIGCAP is something that we're really trying to push at the university for everyone to use. Now, in addition to RIGCAP, there is another application that we use called BioRender. That is a professional scientific illustration platform with over 50,000 expert validated icons for creating publication-ready figures. It produces journal quality diagrams without artistic skills, simplifies complex concepts with visual representations, and enhances presentations, papers, and posters. If you have a need for BioRender, to use BioRender, it is a different process to request access to. You simply would email researchit@desu.edu, and we would provide a credential, or you would get login credential emailed to you. So whereas RIGCAP is housed on our campus and our data server, BioRender is in the cloud, or is its own application on their own platform. So we don't house that here at DSU. And then lastly, the last application that we administer is Atlas TI, which is a powerful qualitative data analysis software designed to help researchers systematically analyze large volumes of unstructured data from various sources, including annotating, categorizing data, identifies patterns, themes, and relationships within qualitative research. And then again, you can request access to Atlas TI through emailing our support at researchit@dsu. And that email address will go to not only myself, but also Sharon and Daryl, who wasn't able to make the call today. So we make sure that someone is kind of monitoring that email address, and that you'll get your credential hopefully within 24 hours. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, the biggest thing I would like you to take away from the procurement policy or process is that if you're ordering a device or need a device that has to go into the network, that it should, or not should, it has to come through the IT department. Otherwise, it creates too many issues when trying to add a device that we're not aware of to the network. And so by going through the proper channels, this just ensures that everything kind of follows the procedures. You're assigned an IP address for that device, and that it can be managed, and that our other support staff is aware of the device, and they can also provide support for it as well. Now, as it relates to data classifications and protection requirements, we essentially have three different classifications. If it has anything to do with credit card numbers, social security numbers, bank accounts, or protected health information, we consider that a confidential level 1 data. Restricted level data 2, security controls are required, but the default classification for all institutional data is not explicitly classified as confidential or public. And then lastly, level 3 are kind of the public domain, press releases, university catalog information, and research publication. So level 1 being the most protected data source, and then level 3 being the least protected or sensitive data, if you will. And our key security requirements are personal identifiable information. So we try to limit the collection to project needs only. In other words, if you're collecting data that is unusable, but it's sensitive, we ask that you do kind of have a purge process that just ensures or limits the risk that you yourself and the project and the university takes on. We try to provide any type of safeguard. So most formats are digital, in which we receive the information. But if you decide to print out any sensitive information, just make sure that you have, again, a process in place to make sure that that information is destroyed. Because ultimately, if it originated digitally, it still, kind of falls within that risk area. Never store on unsecured devices, and never share via email, social media, or fax. That's kind of a no-brainer. But as far as unsecured devices, so the takeaway is do not use this on your don't use sensitive data on your personal devices. Only use it on university issued devices. We have a number of security measures such as two-factor authentication. We have different types of laptops that we can order for you if you would like a face scan or a bio scan in order to get into a device, which we have done for through certain requests from researchers. So again, the biggest takeaway: do not use sensitive data on personal devices. As required, excuse me. Required security measures. We have an annual security training for all faculty and staff. Again, as I mentioned earlier, that is something that we're developing that's going to be new for this year. So we will definitely make sure that we send out communications once that's put together. We currently do quarterly phishing tests. These are kind of things that are done behind the scenes to make sure that the areas in which we house the data and house some of our third-party applications like RedCap are secure, and that they are not susceptible to any type of phishing or malware attacks. We do limit local administrative privileges. If you need administrative privileges, we can provide that. So for instance, if there's a particular software that you have to install on your local device, we can log in remotely to your device to temporarily provide those admin privileges to you. Special protocols for international travel. Again, that is mainly just around making sure that if you go travel internationally, make sure that you keep an eye on your device. You don't allow things like USB devices that aren't yours to be plugged into your device. That is a quick way to get hacked. And then do regular network scans and penetration tests. Should you have a concern, like you clicked on an email and now all of a sudden you're seeing something pop up on your screen, definitely contact us and we can help make sure that your device is still secure or get rid of any type of malware on your device. Excuse me. Okay, and so as I mentioned, for equipment procurement or device procurement, please email us. Actually, that is, support at desu.edu. That is our help desk email that will then get routed to our procurement area. Should you need or have a request to join REDCap, email redcap@desu.edu. And also, you can go to the portal for REDCap by going to redcap.desu.edu. And then lastly, for general IT support or any request to join Atlas or BioRender, you can email researchit@desu.edu. And with that said, I will take questions.
Jason, I have a question. Can I ask?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. What is the relationship when you say IT, come to us, we will do this? Whom are you referring to? Are you referring to yourself, or are you referring to other IT people that we work with, like Adam Taylor and other people who are in the IT people? Whom are you referring to when you say come to us?
Let's say us, yes, that is the team, but I'm the point of contact essentially for things that relate to REDCap, BioRender, Atlas TI. If you have questions about data management, like when you applied for the DEN data, that comes through me. Now I work in orchestra with the team when certain requests come in, to kind of escalate or elevate certain requests that may come in.
So the reason I'm asking is you mentioned that if you want, you give temporary administrative privileges on your computer in case we want to load some software on it. The message I got was you're not going to get any. It's they're going to do it, and that's why I'm a little confused by that. That's why I'm asking you that. I mean, and so I'm still waiting. I mean, I have something to load, but I'm still waiting because somebody has to do it for me.
Understood. I can look into your ticket, but I think I was. Well, let me reiterate what I said. So someone will remote into your computer and provide those administrative privileges. So in other words, you get a pop-up that says you need admin rights to install this. So I'm saying someone will remote into your computer and provide those credentials in, not that they will create admin credentials and give them to you, or change your user account to give you admin rights.
So for example, right now I need something loaded. I'm still waiting. So you're saying I'm waiting for that. In other words, that person has to be present. He has to remote in and has to be present when I'm trying to install something or download something. That person has to be present there. I mean, they won't give it to me and I can download it and then it's over. It's not that way. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Is this something off the internet that you're downloading, or
no? It's SaaS program. It's a SaaS program that a statistical analysis system. It's a program that I had to download on my computer that it wouldn't let me download because I needed administrative account privileges. So and then they did come in. Then when I was talking with SaaS, there was something in there that needed to be removed. Well, it couldn't be removed till I needed administrative privileges to do that. And so then SAS said, well, talk to IT about it. And I sent an email. I'm still waiting for them. So, I mean, do I go through you or do I go through them? What do I do?
Yes. So I'm going to look into your ticket. And so I will, well, I'll make sure that gets done. And to answer your question, still send the request through the same channels. On our side, we're going to start, if it's research related, I'm going to start getting more of those requests.
Okay. Okay, so I will send my request to you, and then you will work it out with them as to who. Okay, now I got it. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Dr. Sutler.
Great presentation, Mr. Coles. Boy, did I learn a lot today. And what I learned made my heart so glad, because I understand, like you, the requirements of keeping our data secure and putting these resources in the hands of faculty and our students who would want to do research. I'm going to give you a little insight into our STRONG project, which is about building research capacity at the university. Some of the feedback that we've gotten is that we have some, I think faculty may not be aware of all of the storage capacity that we have, for example. So I know that throughout the years, storage has become almost, it's kind of really cheap. So
Yeah.
It sounds like that we've got a tremendous amount of capacity to store data.
Absolutely.
And two other questions. We have adequate licensing for faculty and students, maybe even some staff, for REDCap, BioRender, and Atlas. So you're offering a menu of tools that
Yes.
we have. Okay.
Yeah,
So
these are all free tools that are available to the students
and
and faculty.
my final question is about, understanding that all federal grants require the submission or preparation of a data management plan, right? And full disclosure, Mr. Coles is working with us on the ARC grant, so he's helping us in great ways with that. So I know he knows, tremendously about this. But I'm wondering, is there a data management or research data management framework that you're following to build us out at DSU, or are we building this based on our own needs as they arise? What's your how's that work shaping?
I would say it's being shaped using best practices that we saw at other universities as it relates to overall data management. From there, I think, each project, as you just mentioned too, has different requirements and needs for an actual plan. So what the university does is provide definitions and procedures and policies as an overarching layer. And then within that, we can assign and provide guidance on how to actually create a plan. So, for example, at different levels, there are different terms. So I would be considered a data steward and then provide access to a university user. But under the steward, it has different roles, responsibilities, how sorry, let me take a quick look. And also like classification rules and things of that nature. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but that's essentially the framework in which we're working out of.
Yeah, best practices and exemplars who are doing good work in this space. We know our research capacity is growing, and when we do, you're right, when we model on those who are, already exhibiting best practices, where we're certainly growing in the right direction. Those data management plans, you mentioned help with making deposits, or I think I heard you say that. Are you referring to the national repositories where researchers will, in many cases, need to deposit their data to make it available to other researchers outside of DSU? Are those the repositories that you mentioned or that you're referencing to?
So that would be a type of repository that we could work with. The one I was referring to specifically was with Leila's project, working with Department of Health and Information Network, as well as ChristianaCare. There was a need to share the data between the three parties, Delaware State, ChristianaCare, and DEN. And so we can also, apply that same framework to, a national database or repository should the need arise.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Congratulations on this. And thank you for making not only the data secure, but creating the data definitions in terms of how we work with them. I've always been, careful to make sure that those working either with me or with data don't put the data on mobile devices. So having standards and direction as to, to keep the data secure is amazing. One final suggestion is if you can do this workshop once a month, I think you've got a large group of people who could benefit from receiving it. So thanks for putting this on. It's great stuff.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you.
Jason, I have a quick question here. Can you give an example of how Atlas TI is used for? I wasn't clear.
I'm sorry. The question is how it.
What is Atlas TI used for?
Oh.
Atlas TI.
I'm actually going to ask Sharon to chop in on that.
Mm-hmm. So it is a software to analyze qualitative data. So if you conduct interviews or focus groups, and Atlas TI can help analyze, like doing content analysis.
You froze.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you still hear me?
No,
Okay. Sorry. So Atlas TI is a software for content analysis and for qualitative study. So if you have interview data, data from focus group, so you can use Atlas TI to analyze those data. It can also help with literature review. So anything with words, so Atlas TI can help with.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Okay, I'm sorry, there were some questions in the chat. Bettina asked, would you be able to provide some training for BioRender applications? Sharon, do you think that's something that we could arrange with the names escape me, the gentleman that has kind of led those conference calls with Daryl?
Yeah,
BioRender?
I think we should talk with Daryl and see if they have the capacity to and like schedule a time to do the BioRender. But I think it is a great suggestion to have a workshop on BioRender. Yeah, with CTL. Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
Bettina. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, Jan. Okay, Jan, I will follow up on that request.
And Sigrid mentioned that there was one already given last semester, so they can do one more like next semester, this coming semester. And Dr. Settler mentioned if there's a LSTI training. So Dr. John Balzerini is very good at LSTI. So we've been talking within the group, the research capacity core, that next semester that we're planning, see if he can give a training on Atlas TI. So it's in the work. So we're talking about it. So potentially we could have one. And yeah. And I know that Atlas TI, that company, also have a lot of training sessions. So if you're very interested to kind of advance, if you already know the basics and want to advance skills, and there are a lot of options that you can take the training sessions online from Atlas TI. Yeah, all great suggestions.
Yeah.
So I'll come off camera for this question. How do we utilize the services of the Research Corps? Is that a good question for this session?
That's a very, very good question. We're trying very hard to promote the services of the Research Capacity Core, especially our university now pushing the research kind of focused. A lot of faculty trying to get grant, trying to get paper published. So we do have a website. Let me pull this out. So I will show you. Capacity for DSU. Okay. So can I share my screen here, Jason?
Yes. Do
Okay.
I have to do something?
Oh, no. I can do it. I see the share button here. Let's see the window over here. So do you see the website? So I just typed DSU Research Capacity Core on Google and then find this page. So it just pop up. So there's the consultation request form and then the additional resources for researchers. So this web page kind of lay out the services that we do and the personnel here affiliated with the core. If you have any specific questions, for example, if you have questions regarding LSTI, and if you know that John Balzerini does that, you can email him personally, or you can go a consultation request form. So you click on this, and then you can fill out the consultation from here, your name, your department, email address, and then briefly talk about the kind of your project, your methodology, what kind of analysis you're using, what kind of help that you're seeking. So this is the general consultation request form, and then it will go directly to all of us, including Dr. Wenxian, who's the director of the core, and Dr. Balzerini, me. And if you have questions with IT or RACCAP, Jason will receive this as well. And if you have any questions with, for example, RACCAP, you can also use the consultation request form. And Jason mentioned that if you're requesting a RACCAP account, you can email Jason or the IT email address directly, or you can request a RACCAP account through this form. So different ways to do this. And here there's the detail, like, oh, if you do software, if you trying to apply for a grant, if you want someone to read over your proposal, or if you're just kind of brainstorming some ideas, you can always just reach out to us through this request form, and we're happy to just talk about the project with you. And of course, we understand our limitation because Dr. Balzerini and me, we are social scientists, and Dr. Wenxian from mathematics and business school. So we understand our kind of a limitation with the research, the topics, and the methodology. But we also have some kind of a network within the iHeart Center that we can direct you to the right person if we know that it is outside our expertise.
No, I think that the capabilities you described there are suitable to the project that I have. So I think we may be able to bring you some business.
Great.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
looking forward to this. Yeah, just shoot us an email or go through the form. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Settler.
Any other questions? And should you think of something later, you can either go through the consultation portal that Sharon just showed, or email us directly, email myself directly. As I mentioned, Leela and Jan, I will follow up on those tickets that you guys have. But if no one has any other questions, I will conclude today's presentation. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very
Thank you,
much.
Jason.
Great stuff. Thank you.
My
Thanks.
pleasure.